This is Jeremy Bennett with Sportskeeda. I'm on the line with WWE Hall of Famer and current play-by-play announcer for New Japan Pro Wrestling on Access TV, Jim Ross. Jim, how you doing today?
I'm good, Jeremy. Thanks for talking with me.
Yeah, thanks for taking the call. We're here to talk about something you just announced recently on Twitter. Over WrestleMania weekend, the Slobber Knocker sessions are going to take place Friday morning, April 6th at 10 a.m. at the Hilton Garden Inn at the New Orleans Airport in the Lake Town Room. Tickets are going to go on sale this Friday, February 23rd at 10 a.m. Central at ticketfly.com. And for an all-in price of $85, you'll get to attend a uncensored Q&A session with JR, receive a copy of his best-selling autobiography, Slobber Knocker, and have it signed by JR. You'll get to meet the Hall of Famer and an opportunity of a cell phone photo and also a bottle of JR's family barbecue all-purpose seasoning. And Jim, I got to ask, what do you like the seasoning best on? What meat in particular? Do you like it on a steak, on a chicken, or does it just work with everything for you?
When I first started using it, it was basically on protein, on the grill.
Yeah.
And then I was in a hurry one day and I couldn't find my salt and all that stuff for stovetop things, vegetables and things of that nature. And so I used it, and it's just wonderful. So it's really an all-purpose seasoning. It's great as a rub. It's great on your vegetables, that type of thing. So, and it travels well. We've got a lot of our fans that will be coming to our show, hopefully, that will be coming from out of the country. So by giving them a bottle of seasoning, they have no issues with TSA and flying with it and all that good stuff because it's not liquid. So, but vegetables, it's a sleeper thing on vegetables. If you make like barbecue beans or baked beans, even green beans, pinto beans, I found it makes beans better, and I like beans for protein. So it's an all-around thing, and certainly when you come to our show, you get a lot of free stuff, but that's one of the ones that'll last you the longest probably. And by the way, I'm giving away my book with a ticket, and it's a hard copy of the book. It's not some, reproduced cheap version of something. It's the real hard copy, and I'll personalize all the autographs. I enjoy doing that. And by only having 100 tickets, you get to spend more time with everybody that comes. It's a better feel. It's more intimate. It's more friendly, and I really like it that way.
Yeah, I was in attendance for your one-man show in Dallas a couple of years ago with RVD, and I just loved all the stories. I especially loved your Jim Cornette Border Patrol story. That was just excellent. Your Jim Cornette impression always makes me laugh. Will the Slobber Knocker sessions have a guest like your previous one-man shows, or will this just be strictly you and the fans?
I haven't decided. With only 100 people there, I'm thinking it's just me and them.
Mm-hmm.
Might have an MC. Jeremy Borash has been working with me as an MC.
Okay.
But, JB's now with WWE, and I don't know what that allows him to do or not to do.
Mm-hmm.
Or if he's able to do it, and I don't know why he wouldn't be, but nonetheless, I may get JB to be the MC that Friday morning in New Orleans. So we'll see. It's a whole different process than the show you saw in Dallas.
Yeah.
It's a different show. It's a different feel, and it was something to change up. I can always go back to doing a stand-up stage show with a guest here and there, or whatever. But here's what I find, Jeremy, that's best for me. I love interacting with the fans. I love hearing what's on their mind. I love hearing where I fit in their memory bank, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Q&As, the question and answer session, are just, to me, the most enjoyable thing one of the most enjoyable things I do nowadays.
Yeah, and speaking of Jeremy Borash, he was such an important player with Impact Wrestling. What does that signing mean to the WWE to bring a guy like JB on?
Well, it's another great hire. I mean, I can't tell you when WWE has made a poor hire in any area, quite frankly.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great get. He can do a lot of things.
Yeah, he's done it all.
He doesn't even have to be on camera, for example. his value, his worth in character creation and development, the production side. He's got great product knowledge. He has an insane work ethic, which I really admire. So they hit the gold mine with him. I think I think he's going to be focusing on NXT stuff. So that's a great slot for him, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what he does with the company, whether it's on the camera or away from the camera. Now you have the privilege of calling New Japan Pro Wrestling on Access TV with Josh Barnett. What does it mean to you to get a call Strong Style Evolved live on Access TV coming up here on March 25th?
Well, I'm still trying to figure out, Jeremy, what Strong Style means, and that will give my critics more fuel for the fire. He doesn't even know what Strong Style means. It's a great marketing slogan. It's a great a mantra to live up to, just by the implication of the words themselves. Mm-hmm. But I'm always honored to do work for Access TV. They've been a great partner of mine for the last, I think it's our third year we're working on that gig with Josh. I really enjoy working with those guys, and I like much of I can see the New Japan product evolving. When I first started calling it, at times it reminded me of Mid-South Wrestling. Mm. At times it reminded me of the UWF. Yeah. At times it reminded me of the Red Hot NWA in the late 80s. I think it's evolving more, which is fine. And so I can see the styles changing a little bit and emphasis on other things. But I enjoy it. They tell good stories, and they have some great talents in that company that I really enjoy watching. I think that Okada is just a marvel, and he's not even nearly as good as he's going to be. He's young.
Yeah, he's got years left in him.
Oh yeah, you hope, right? You hope he does, and but maybe that's what strong style means. Strong style shortens your shelf life. Heck, I don't know, but I enjoy the product, and I'm really going to enjoy doing it live.
Yeah, it's going to be
challenging to go into a voiceover room and watch a big screen TV and make your calls. Now, I've done that forever, so it's not like I'm surprised by it. We try to make it work and do our best.
Yeah.
But there's nothing that can replicate being there and feeling it, and smelling it, and hearing it. There's nothing like that. So I'm looking forward to that big show in March, live on Access TV.
Yeah, it's sold out in about 20 minutes. I bet that crowd in California is going to be pretty rowdy for that event.
Oh, so well, it tells you two things. The brand is building popularity. They have a very devout, educated, and passionate cult following. Somebody will take me to task for saying it's a cult following. I think that means there's a special group of fans that really love New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
That might not embrace all other forms of pro wrestling. It's kind of my thought on that deal.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
Anyway, I just think that being able to do something live is really neat and fun. Josh is a perfect partner. He knows the culture. He knows a lot of the technical things about submissions, and the holes have much of the same emphasis and same effect, but the talents have decided, because it creates more T-shirt opportunities. I'm not knocking that either. They got to be entrepreneurs as an independent contractor, but they give these holes new names. So the same hole could have multiple names, and so that's kind of challenging for me, because I learned the hole's name in one form back when it was introduced. Like a lot of suplexes came into play when I was in my younger years. So you have to learn things. There were new cultures, and I enjoyed that. But it's challenging now sometimes to keep up with the Joneses as far as that's concerned. But I really enjoy their product, and the fans in Long Beach will make that a must-watch TV show, no doubt about it.
Yeah, that's for sure. One of the hot divisions in New Japan Pro Wrestling is the junior heavyweight division. Do you have a favorite in that division?
Oh man, they got a lot of really good talents in that division. Kushida's really good. He's almost too good. He's so smooth that sometimes great things he does looks effortless, and we know they're not.
Mm-hmm.
He's really smooth. Will Ospreay is he's pretty damn amazing.
He's from a different planet, isn't he?
Yeah, he's really special. And what that does, it creates competition within that grouping in the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
A perfect climate to grow stars, to have competition, healthy competition in the locker room. There's just so many great junior heavyweights in New Japan that, again, it creates great competition in their locker room to continue to raise the bar and get better at their craft. So, but right now, if I had to, somebody said, what one match would you pay to see out of your own pocket for real? I'd certainly say that Ospreay versus a variety of guys. Hey, I love the match I called with Ospreay and Marty Scurll.
Oh, yeah.
That was classic, man. Those guys they're like Rembrandts on a different canvas, and I really enjoy. So they got a lot of really good talents there in New Japan, and I'm growing with the brand, and I'm happy to be a part of Access TV's presentation, and I'm very blessed that WWE allows me the blessing to have another gig that I can keep my chops sharp, so to speak, and get out of the house, quite frankly.
And you were mentioning the storytelling aspect of it, and one of the matches that kind of caught me surprised at Wrestle Kingdom was just the amazing storytelling between Hiroki Goto and Minoru Suzuki. I thought with that hair versus hair match, I just thought that was just some storytelling at its finest inside the square circle.
Yeah, you're right. You couldn't see through things. They didn't do things that were illogical that makes you start and go, wait a minute. When wrestlers book themselves to do phenomenal spots that seemingly have no long-term ill effects, that seemingly, even though it looks amazing, you still kick out. When those things happen with increased regularity, and people they stop more often and say, wait a minute, then you're starting to lose me a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think the point I'm making is that Goto and Suzuki had a very believable, logical, painful wrestling match that we did our best to put the correct narrative to.
I got one last question here for you, JR, and thanks, and once again, thanks again for taking the time here to talk with me this afternoon. WrestleMania weekend took place in New Orleans 4 years ago. Was there anything about the city that stood out for you when it hosted WrestleMania weekend in 2014?
It just made me reminisce back to the days of Mid-South Wrestling and the UWF, because New Orleans was our number one city. Mm-hmm. And New Orleans and Houston, in that era were big-time markets. And normally they ran on consecutive nights. New Orleans on Thursday, and then Houston on Friday night for Paul Bosch. So it reminded me of all those trips I went to New Orleans for and left with maybe $40 or $60. The one thing about WrestleMania 4 years ago, I think I had 3 shows I think I had 3 shows there. I can't remember. Anyway, I knew when I was leaving town and coming home, I would be leaving with more than $60. Mm-hmm. So that was nice. But, it's cool. New Orleans fans and fans from that part of the world are so uninhibited. They're proud to be wrestling fans, and they are proud to be more traditional wrestling fans, I think. But they certainly show their passion, and that's really all you can ask a paying customer is just express yourself on how you're feeling right now. And if we're not eliciting the best emotion from you that we can, then that's our fault. So I loved it. I'm looking forward to going back. We're going to, as we said earlier, we got our show there on the Friday night of WrestleMania weekend, Friday morning. And the thing I'd like to stress, without sounding like a damn telethon here, is that we got 100 tickets. They're going to go on sale Friday morning at 10 o'clock Central Time at ticketfly.com. Once they're gone, those 100 tickets are gone. We can't make the room bigger. So it's right. There's a lot of things in that area too. A lot of wrestling's going on there in that little vicinity, same parking lot, basically, where we're having it at the hotel. So it's a good location, and I guarantee you'll have a good time.
Yeah, that's once again ticketfly.com, 10 a.m. Central Time this Friday, February 23rd. As JR said, only 100 fans get to join the Slobber Knocker session. So make sure to get your mouse ready to click and buy as soon as 10 a.m. Central hits this Friday. JR, it was a pleasure talking with you. And have a good time in California here coming up next month, and have a great time at WrestleMania weekend as well.
I'm going out to L.A. next week to do some more voiceovers for our Friday night show, and we're getting into a real good season for those guys. They have a very formulaic, somewhat predictable relaunching or restarting period in the early January. And I love it. It builds marriages. It builds rivalries, in other words. So we're right into that heart of that. So it's a fun time to be a fan in general. As a matter of fact, I want to thank all the fans. There's not a better time to be a wrestling fan than right now, in my lifetime. And that will probably get some scuttlebutt too. What's he talking about? He's senile and crazy. But think about it, man. It's like a big buffet. And a fat guy like me loves a buffet. And man, we got her down wrestling. So I appreciate all the people supporting all of our efforts. I don't think some of us my peers say that often enough. They actually believe they are the star of the show. And some days they'll walk by the mirror and realize they're not. So I appreciate you, and we'll hope to do this again.
Thanks a lot, JR. Have a good day.
Good, buddy.